There's something you should know. When a Scorpio walks into the room, they don't need to speak to be felt. They don't need to move to be in control. They don't need to explain themselves because everything about them operates on a level deeper than words. While others chase approval, Scorpio watches. While the world rushes to be seen, Scorpio becomes invisible. And that's where the real power begins. You see, Scorpio isn't trying to outshine anyone. They simply outlast them. And they do it not with noise, not with show, but with precision, with psychology, with silence. There's a reason people say Scorpio is dangerous without ever being able to explain why, because you can't explain what you don't understand. And Scorpio was never meant to be understood, only respected. This video isn't about stereotypes. It's not about betrayal, revenge, or some superficial sting. This is deeper. This is about how Scorpio uses 15 psychological powers to stay ahead of everyone else without anyone realizing it. Powers you may not even realize you've been using your entire life. Because for Scorpio, intelligence is layered, emotional, energetic, instinctive. And in a world obsessed with being loud, fast, and obvious, Scorpio plays a different game, and they always win. So if you're a Scorpio, or someone who's ever wondered why you see through people like glass, why silence feels like power, or why endings always turn you into someone stronger, this video is for you. Drop your birthday in the comments. I want to see which masterminds have joined us. Now take a deep breath, because we're about to enter the mind of Scorpio. Let's begin with psychological power number 1. Psychological power number 1, the silent radar. Scorpio doesn't need to hear your words to know your truth. They feel it in the pauses, in the shift of your eyes, in the weight of a sigh you didn't even notice you gave. While most people need evidence, Scorpio needs only a moment of silence. Because that silence, that's where they listen deeper. They walk into a room and read it like a chessboard. Every glance, every gesture, every tone catalogued. Not out of paranoia, but out of pattern recognition. It's instinct refined into awareness. Others think they're being subtle, that they're hiding something behind a smile or distraction. But Scorpio notices the tension in your jaw before you even know you're clenching. They feel the crack in your voice before you admit you're scared. And they never say a word about it, not until they have to. It's like an invisible sonar, a psychological radar that pings silently beneath every interaction. Take, for example, the Scorpio who walks into a business meeting. While others dive into contracts and handshake deals, Scorpio stays silent, listening, observing. They catch the hesitation in a partner's voice, the flicker of uncertainty, the slight shift in eye contact. Everyone else celebrates a done deal. Scorpio, they walk away. Weeks later, the deal falls apart, and everyone asks, "How did you know?" They didn't know, they felt. That's the Scorpio radar at work. And that's only the beginning. Life lesson. You don't need to confront to understand. You don't need to speak to see. Let the world talk, you observe. Because when you trust your inner radar, you'll always see the truth before it speaks. Psychological power number 2, strategic disappearance. Scorpio doesn't chase energy, they study it. And when it becomes polluted, disloyal, or simply misaligned with their soul, they vanish. Not in anger, not in drama, in silence. Because when Scorpio pulls back, it isn't about you, it's about clarity. It's about protecting the integrity of their power. They don't explain themselves to people who misread them. They don't fight for space in rooms that drain them. And they don't offer warnings before disappearing, because if you were paying attention, you would have already felt them slipping away. To others, this may feel like ghosting. To Scorpio, it's spiritual self-defense. You see, most people leave relationships with wounds. Scorpio leaves with wisdom. They take every red flag, every contradiction, every micro-betrayal, and file it away like evidence. Quietly, clinically, intelligently. And by the time they walk, it's already over in their mind. The distance is not a reaction, it's a strategy. Imagine a Scorpio friend who suddenly becomes quiet, less available, not cold, just detached. You think everything is fine. But Scorpio has already replayed your conversations, recalled your inconsistencies, and felt the disconnect. They don't need to argue, they need to move. And they do. Life lesson: you don't need to prove your worth to anyone. The moment your energy no longer feels honored, step back. Disengaging doesn't mean defeat. For Scorpio, it means peace. And peace is power. Psychological power number 3. Master of emotional codes. While others get overwhelmed by feelings, Scorpio decodes them like secret messages. To them, emotions are not distractions, they are information. Where most people react blindly, Scorpio leans in. They don't just feel their own emotions deeply, they also read yours often better than you can. They notice when your words don't match your energy. They feel the story your silence tells. They track the subtle shifts in your emotional temperature, like a barometer rising tension, unspoken resentment, guilt masked as sarcasm. This makes Scorpio nearly impossible to lie to. But here's the twist: they don't always confront you. Sometimes they let you speak, knowing you're hiding something just to see how far you'll go. They give you rope, not out of cruelty but calculation. Because the more you speak, the clearer your emotional blueprint becomes. Take the Scorpio therapist who listens to a patient denying their pain while watching their eyes well up. The Scorpio doesn't interrupt. They wait, they feel, and when they finally speak, it's like a mirror held to the soul. Or think of the Scorpio lover who knows something's wrong even when you say, "I'm fine." They feel the tremble beneath the tone, and they never forget it. Life lesson: feelings are not chaos, they are codes. When you stop running from them and start reading them, you gain the emotional clarity others spend a lifetime searching for. Psychological power number 4. Magnetic truth extractor. Scorpio doesn't ask many questions, they don't have to. Their energy does the asking. There's something about the way they look at you, that gaze that sees beyond the surface. It disarms you. It invites something raw out of you before you've had time to build your walls. And suddenly, you're saying things you've never told anyone, confessing fears, admitting regrets, sharing secrets you swore you'd take to the grave. Why does this happen? Because Scorpio holds space, real space. The kind that doesn't rush, the kind that doesn't judge, the kind that feels like a mirror you didn't know you were standing in front of. It's not manipulation, it's magnetism, and it's real. People pour their souls out to Scorpios in elevators, in cafes, on first dates, even strangers. It's the intensity, the presence, the feeling of being fully seen, not just watched. And Scorpio, they just listen. They don't interrupt. They don't react too much. They let the truth surface like bubbles rising from deep water. And once they have it, they protect it. They don't use it against you. They simply understand you more than you understand yourself. Life lesson: you don't always need to pull truth from others. Sometimes just being fully present is enough. And when people feel safe to be seen, they reveal more than they know. Psychological power number 5. Weaponized memory. Scorpio doesn't forget, but it's not out of bitterness, it's out of precision. Every conversation, every shift in tone, every promise broken or half kept, it's all filed away. Not emotionally, strategically. Like a map of who you truly are, built from small pieces you didn't even know you were dropping. Most people remember events. Scorpio remembers energy. They recall how your voice changed when you lied, how your eyes avoided theirs when you hid something, how your mood dropped when you were secretly envious. And unlike others, they don't need to replay these memories constantly. It's all stored in the background like a silent archive. Then one day, when you least expect it, Scorpio references something you said 6 months ago, word for word. And suddenly you realize they were never not paying attention. This is what makes it almost impossible to manipulate a Scorpio. You can shift your story, twist the facts, reframe the past, but they've already memorized the original version. Imagine a Scorpio child being gaslit by a parent. They don't argue, they just remember. Years later, when the truth matters most, they recount the story down to the detail. And that truth lands like lightning. Life lesson: memory is more than nostalgia. When used with clarity and calm, it becomes protection. Trust what you remember, especially when others want you to forget. Psychological power, number 6. Pattern before people. Scorpio doesn't just study individuals, they study behavior. They notice not just what you did once, but what you've done 3, 4, 5 times. While others get distracted by charm, apologies, or excuses, Scorpio watches for patterns. They know that people reveal themselves over time, and Scorpio has the patience to wait. They see the cycles, the emotional reruns, the subtle loops of manipulation, insecurity, inconsistency. And once a pattern is confirmed, Scorpio doesn't argue, they adjust. This is why Scorpio can give you a second chance, but never a third. Because to them, one-time actions can lie, but patterns tell the truth. Take, for example, a Scorpio in a relationship. The partner keeps canceling plans, once or twice. Maybe life got in the way, but after the 4th time, Scorpio isn't angry, they're informed. The decision has already been made, no confrontation necessary. Patterns are like emotional fingerprints. Once Scorpio sees yours, they never forget it. And if your patterns don't match your promises, Scorpio chooses patterns every time. Life lesson: pay attention to repetition. People may say anything, but their patterns are their truth. And when you trust those patterns, you stop falling for potential and start protecting your peace. Psychological power, number 7. Timing over reaction. Scorpio doesn't react, they respond. And that distinction is everything. While others rush to defend themselves, to clap back to prove a point, Scorpio waits. Not because they're weak, but because they know timing is a weapon. They understand that a well-placed silence can do more damage than 1,000 arguments. That holding your move can be more powerful than making it too soon. That emotions, when acted on impulsively, often cost more than they're worth. So Scorpio watches. They let the chaos play out, let others overexpose, let their enemies reveal themselves in full. And when the right moment comes, not a second before Scorpio moves. Think of a Scorpio in a work environment. Someone's been undermining them subtly for months. Scorpio doesn't explode, doesn't gossip. They collect evidence, let things unfold. And when the time is right, they bring it all forward with timing so exact no one can deny it. This is not manipulation, it's mastery. Scorpio doesn't fight every battle, just the ones that matter. And when they strike, it's clean, quiet, and final. Life lesson: every reaction costs energy. Don't spend it where it won't change the outcome. Wait, watch, choose your moment, because power isn't just what you do, it's when you do it. Psychological power, number 8. The art of letting them think they've won. Scorpio understands one thing better than almost any other sign: the ego. And they know that sometimes the most strategic move is to let someone else believe they've won. Why? Because ego blinds people. And when someone thinks they've outsmarted Scorpio, they become careless, sloppy, transparent. Scorpio plays the long game, always. They don't need to win every argument, every power struggle, every moment. They're thinking in years, not minutes. While others celebrate short-term victories, Scorpio is already setting the stage for what comes next, silently, carefully. Imagine a Scorpio negotiating a deal. The other party pushes postures, tries to dominate. Scorpio gives a little ground, nods, agrees, and walks away appearing passive. But in truth, they've gathered everything they needed. A week later, they pull a move that shifts the entire balance in their favor, and no one saw it coming. This is not weakness, it's discipline. Scorpio doesn't need to prove they're winning, they just need to win. Life lesson: letting someone think they've won isn't surrender, it's surveillance. Sometimes the smartest strategy is to let the story unfold while you prepare for the real ending. Psychological power, number 9. Pain as blueprint. Where most people avoid pain, Scorpio studies it. They don't run from betrayal, heartbreak, or failure. They dissect it. They look at it like a forensic investigator examining a crime scene. What broke? Why? What did it reveal? And from that emotional wreckage, they build strategy. Scorpio doesn't just survive the storm. They memorize the wind patterns, reinforce the foundation, and come back stronger than before every single time. This is why you can't break a Scorpio. The very pain meant to destroy them becomes part of their transformation. Every scar becomes a blueprint. Every loss becomes leverage. Take, for example, a Scorpio who's been cheated on. They don't spiral. They don't post online breakdowns. They go quiet, reflect, rewire, and 6 months later they're thriving emotionally, mentally, spiritually, while their betrayer is still stuck in circles. Scorpio doesn't carry pain like baggage. They wear it like armor, and when it no longer fits, they shed it like a snake outgrowing its skin. Life lesson. Pain is not just something to feel, it's something to learn. When you let suffering become structure, you don't just heal, you evolve. Psychological power, number 10, the fortress of mystery. In a world addicted to oversharing, Scorpio chooses silence, not out of fear, but out of control. Their mystery is not a mask, it's a fortress, a protective field that guards their energy, their intentions, and their next move. The less you know, the less you can influence. And Scorpio knows this. That's why they reveal selectively, sometimes not at all. You might think they're being secretive, cold, guarded, but what you're really witnessing is a person who values power over popularity. And mystery is power. Scorpio's restraint makes people nervous. It forces others to guess, assume project. And in that fog of uncertainty, Scorpio watches, measures, waits. Imagine a Scorpio in a new friendship. While others spill their life stories on day one, Scorpio listens, takes mental notes, shares only what feels earned. And because of that, they stay in command of their own narrative, unshaped by external noise. You cannot attack what you cannot locate. You cannot control what you cannot define. And Scorpio, they are both undefined and unbothered. Life lesson. Privacy isn't avoidance, it's sovereignty. When you stop needing to be understood, you begin to protect your most powerful asset, your inner world. Psychological power number 11. The calm before the sting. Scorpio is rarely loud in conflict. That's what makes them terrifying. While others yell, explode, overreact, Scorpio becomes still. It's not detachment, it's calculation. Before any response is given, Scorpio has already scanned the emotional battlefield. What's the motive? What's the weakness? What's the real issue beneath the surface? They don't argue to be right. They observe to be effective. Scorpio's calmness isn't passivity, it's preparation. They replay your words in their mind before answering. They feel the energy behind your anger. They analyze your tone, your timing, your tension. And when they finally respond, it's never accidental. It's precise, controlled, devastating. Picture a Scorpio being falsely accused. While others might panic, defend, or spiral, Scorpio does none of that. They go quiet. Let the accusations burn themselves out. Then, with one surgical sentence, they turn the whole narrative on its head. This is why fighting with Scorpio is dangerous. You think the argument is starting, but they've already decided how it ends. Life lesson. You don't need to match chaos with chaos. Silence can be your shield and timing can be your sword. Never confuse stillness with weakness. Psychological power, number 12, ego decoder. Scorpio sees through facades, not just words, but ego masks. They understand why people do what they do before the person even realizes it themselves. Every action, every reaction, every boast or withdrawal, Scorpio traces it back to its root fear, desire, insecurity, or pride. This gives them an almost unfair advantage. While others react to what they see, Scorpio responds to what they understand. Think about a Scorpio in a negotiation. The other party postures aggressively, acts confident, projects power. Scorpio doesn't respond with aggression. They observe, decode the insecurity, the need, the hidden motivation driving the display. Then, with insight, they act not to win immediately, but to gain the upper hand long term. This isn't manipulation, it's clarity. Scorpio reads the landscape of human ego like an open book, understanding patterns, predicting responses, and staying several steps ahead. People underestimate Scorpio because they appear quiet, reserved, even passive. But they are calculating the full trajectory of every encounter. By the time you think you're in control, Scorpio has already set the stage. Life lesson: when you understand the motives behind actions, yours and others, you no longer get caught in illusions. Awareness is the ultimate form of power. Psychological power number 13. Presence that disarms. Scorpio doesn't need to threaten, argue, or dominate to command attention. Their presence alone is enough. When a Scorpio enters a space, people feel it. Something in their energy is unshakable, magnetic, and quietly intense. You can't help but be drawn to them, even if it makes you nervous. This presence disarms people before a word is spoken. It forces honesty, reveals hidden intentions, and makes others reveal more than they planned. They might think they're holding back, but Scorpio reads it all. A Scorpio doesn't push for control, they radiate it. Others give away their secrets, their intentions, their fears, not because Scorpio asked, but because their energy invites truth. The room bends around them silently, acknowledging the power they carry. And this presence isn't accidental. It's cultivated through awareness, self-mastery, and deep understanding of human nature. Scorpio knows that being fully seen is both their weapon and their shield. Life lesson: true influence doesn't come from force. It comes from cultivating your presence. When you fully own your energy, people reveal themselves to you naturally, no manipulation needed. Psychological power number 14. Controlled chaos. Scorpio thrives where others falter. They can navigate emotional storms, conflict, and uncertainty with an ease that seems almost unnatural. While most people panic or react impulsively when chaos arises, Scorpio studies it. They understand the currents of tension, the ebb and flow of fear, the subtle shifts in power and emotion, and they use it. This doesn't mean Scorpio creates drama for fun, they don't need it. But when chaos is present, they can turn it to their advantage. They identify patterns in the unpredictability, anticipate outcomes, and choose precisely when and how to act. Imagine a Scorpio managing a crisis at work. While everyone else scrambles, Scorpio is calm, observing, connecting dots no one else sees. They guide the situation subtly, often from the shadows, ensuring the result aligns with their intentions, without anyone realizing how it was orchestrated. Chaos becomes a tool, not a threat. And this mastery over unpredictability is one of the most dangerous and empowering Scorpio traits. Life lesson: don't fear chaos. Observe it, learn its patterns. And when you act with clarity amid confusion, you turn unpredictability into opportunity. Psychological power number 15. Burn, rebuild, rise higher. Scorpio has a unique relationship with endings. They do not fear destruction, they embrace it when necessary. When situations, relationships, or identities become toxic, Scorpio knows it's better to let them burn than cling to what no longer serves them. And from the ashes, they rebuild stronger, wiser, and more aligned with their truth. This is not impulsive. It's instinctive. It's the art of transformation. Think of a Scorpio who loses a long-held career opportunity, while others might dwell in frustration or regret. Scorpio analyzes what happened, extracts lessons, and emerges with a new path that is often far more rewarding. They don't just survive transitions, they thrive through them. This constant cycle of renewal, of shedding the old and stepping into the new, is what makes Scorpio impossible to outsmart. Just when others think they understand them, Scorpio evolves. Yesterday's game is gone. Today, they play a level no one anticipated. It is in destruction that Scorpio finds creation. In endings, they discover beginnings, and in silence, they wield power beyond comprehension. Life lesson. Sometimes the wisest choice is to let go completely, release what no longer serves you, learn from the experience, and rise stronger. Transformation is the ultimate power. Conclusion. There you have it, the 15 psychological powers that leave everyone 2 steps behind. Scorpio doesn't need to shout, argue, or force control. Their strength lies in observation, intuition, strategy, and mastery of self. They move in silence, feel deeply, and transform relentlessly. If you are a Scorpio, take this as a confirmation. Your silence is your strategy. Your pain is your power. Your mystery is your weapon. Drop your birthday in the comments. I want to see which Scorpio minds are watching. Like this video if these truths resonate. Share it with someone who needs to understand Scorpio's depth. And subscribe to the Path to Buddha Wisdom for weekly insights into the psychology, energy, and spiritual power of the zodiac. Because Scorpio doesn't just play the game, they redefine it.